please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Well, I think we should keep an eye out on the markets. We're going higher, so let's find out what's the trade on the Nifty as we speak. Ashwani Gujral and Rajat Bose join in at this point of time. Ashwani, coming across to you first. What's the call on the Nifty? We're holding about the 10,400 mark. Can we have a better, final 2 hours of trade today?
See, what's changed in the last 1 hour is that now PSU banks are seeing short covering. So the PSU index just went into the green as well. State Bank is already in the green. So if that starts to happen, you'll see massive amounts of short covering happening on banking. And, once you have a sentiment lifting on the bank Nifty, I think Nifty will also be able to engineer a larger pullback. So my sense is we should have a strong, short covering rally going into the close. Yesterday was fairly minor. Today, the bears have tried to make a new low, but have failed. And particularly with these PSU banks coming back, I won't be surprised if most of them are up 4 to 5%. That does not mean anything longer term. It just means that, they're exhausted on the downside. And now for the next half a day, they should be moving up strongly. So based on that, State Bank is a buy with a stop of 263, target of 278. Canara Bank is a buy with a stop of 300, target of 321. And Union Bank is a buy with a stop of 103, target of 116.
Ashwani, if you're going long on the Nifty, even in the Nifty Bank, I guess you'll be going long. Yesterday's low becomes the stop loss, as you were telling us earlier today.
Yes, yesterday's low, you can say, has been retested and has held on. So today, since the rally is starting now, 12:30, you've got good 2-3 hours. And I think easily the Nifty could gain 70 to 100 points. Similarly, Bank Nifty could do 200 to 250 because the market is totally biased on one side, and that was a little unsustainable.
Right. Rajat, good afternoon to you. What are your stock ideas?
I'm actually repeating whatever I suggested in the morning around 10 o'clock. Those stocks have not really stopped out even when the market failed, and they have scaled up. So what I've done is that I have revised the levels upwards both for stop loss as well as targets. So Arvind Mills 393 is my stop loss now, and 402 and 403.80 are the two targets. And Sun TV stop loss has been revised to 907, and targets would be 927 and 935.
Right, gentlemen, thanks very much for your trading ideas. Let's go back to Hyderabad. My colleague Nitya Balakrishnan is standing by with Arvind Thakur of NIT Tech for his first reaction post the NASSCOM review.
Well, thank you so much for that. We have Mr. Arvind Thakur of NIT Tech just minutes after that NASSCOM outlook for FY19. We're talking about 7-odd% range that they've given us. It was 7 to 8 last year, 7 to 9 this year. Mr. Thakur, do you think that we're definitely going to see better growth than we did in FY18?
Well, as you can see that the range has expanded from 7 to 8 to 7 to 9. Definitely it's going to be a better year. As you know that the industry is in a state of transition. The traditional service lines are giving way to new digital service lines. And I think the pivot is happening during this period. And that's the reason why we expect a better year next year.
Well, domestic growth is also forecast at 10 to 12%. And are you confident of achieving that target as far as domestic growth is concerned on the whole as a sector?
I think we are seeing significant traction in the domestic market, particularly with all the support and push that we are getting from the government in driving digitization in the country. And the government is also very keen to implement inclusive growth.
Absolutely.
And so all this is leading to a favorable position as far as technology adoption is concerned in the country.
Mr. Thakur, before I actually bring it to NIT Tech, a question on digital, technology that is expected to actually grow twice compared to the rest of the industry. They're expecting it to clock double-digit growth. Yes. Is that the outlook that you share as well?
Absolutely. In fact, as I mentioned earlier, the new digital service lines is where the growth opportunity is. We've seen that in the past. and we'll continue to see that in the future. And as you would have seen in this particular conference, there are many disruptions that are happening with technology, particularly with artificial intelligence, and with all these things coming to mainstream is going to support growth even more.
Now, Mr. Thakur, if we talk about NIT Tech, Q3 you did see 21% growth in profits.
Yes.
What's the outlook for Q4 like, really?
So we've seen steady margin improvement in our business, and that's again coming on the back of a larger proportion of digital business in our revenue mix. Our digital revenues grew 10% sequentially in the last quarter.
Yes.
And so, we expect to continue to see that trend going forward as well. So we have also, in fact, guided on a better operating margin in Q4 as compared to Q3.
Absolutely, 17.1 in Q3, you're expecting that to improve as well. And BFSI was a sector that worked really well for you, the vertical. So you expect strong growth in BFSI, and what other verticals are you bullish on?
That's right. So I think in BFSI there are two elements. There's BFS and I. So I, which is insurance, has been traditionally very strong for us. But where we have seen good traction has been on the digital services and solutions that we're providing to the BFS segment. So that's a very specialized area in which we have been focused on, which has seen tremendous growth. And that's the reason why that's a strong vertical for us now.
Well, if I can talk about geographies, Mr. Thakur, we are seeing a rebound of sorts in US, Europe showing signs of revival as well, Japan looking good.
Yes.
What are the geographies that you think are going to bring in the maximum growth in FY19?
You're absolutely right. So I think the economy is pretty strong now in the US, which bodes very well for the industry and for us as well. But I think we are seeing even a better uptake in Europe. Europe, in fact, has rebounded well as a geography. So going forward, I think we'll see improved growth in our European geography.
All right, then some positive commentary coming in from NIT Tech. They're expecting the next year to be better, and they expect some positive growth in various geographies as well. But it's not just the IT space. You take a look at the markets on the whole. We've moved higher. SBI is a stock that's moved higher, and that's definitely helping the PSU banking space. That one moves to the high point of the day. Kotak Mahindra Bank as well. Let's get that one up for you on the screen, and even Yes Bank. So these banking stocks are doing well. The Nifty Bank now is up close to around 60 points. Remember, Ashwani said he wouldn't be surprised if we do nearly around 70 to around 80 points. So as per the charts, he's saying that in fact we're likely to head towards the 10,500 level in today's trading sessions. Final 2 hours should be better, but if you're going long, remember yesterday's low should be in fact your stop loss on both the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank.
Well, the market is heading higher, 10,400, up now 0.4%. But the stock in focus is Fortis Healthcare. It's now 9% off of the low point of trade. Movements coming through there, so 1.5% higher now. This move, of course, is following the latest news that RK Damani has bought about a 0.5% stake in the company. But let's shift focus to one of the biggest global market voices. We caught up with the emerging market guru, Mark Mobius, and he believes that India will surpass China in terms of growth on the sectoral front. He believes that Indian banks will continue to thrive and strive.
It's possible to have more correction. You must remember that not only India, but the U.S. market and many other markets around the world, particularly the developed markets in Europe and the U.S., have reached high points. On a historical basis, there is reason to believe that you're going to have corrections from these very high levels that we're seeing now. The interesting thing about the developments now is that with the U.S. dollar getting weaker, emerging markets are looking pretty good. But, of course, they would be affected if there's a significant downturn. And I believe that the benefits that the reforms already implemented have had on the society as a whole will be reinforcing the need for more such reforms. So we're very positive about India, as you know. We think India is now on the takeoff stage and will probably surpass China in terms of growth going forward.
Across to my colleague Nithya Balakrishnan, who's standing by with Mr. Mohan Reddy of Cyient. Nithya, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. VBR Mohan Reddy, for joining us right minutes after that NASSCOM FY19 outlook guidance. If I can ask you then, 7 to 9% is the kind of export revenues growth forecast that they have for FY19. Do you think that the sector will meet it, beat it? What is your outlook?
I believe that it's a very conservative estimate at this point of time. They'll certainly meet those numbers. because there's, I think, fairly large amount of upside still to capture, which is unfolding at this point of time. There are new technologies which have come in, and people are now at this point of time trying to feel the technology. We don't know how the uptake would be with the customers. There's demand from the customers, all right, but that's not crystallized as of now. But as we progress into the year, I think a lot more will happen. So my belief is these are very realistic or pragmatic numbers, but there's sizable amount of upside to capture thereafter.
Well, you did mention new age technologies, and that's what they're indicating, that digital technology will actually witness 2x growth when compared to the rest of the industry, even double-digit growth. Do you think that's conservative as well?
Absolutely. I think it could be even much larger than that, because the way in which these technologies have been now expanding themselves, they become all pervasive. They're into every possible industry you can think about. In the past, people never thought about, technology in agriculture, for instance. Now you have precision agriculture, your drones flying around, you have video cameras around them. Or similar to the case with healthcare. Not just healthcare in terms of IT, but healthcare in terms of technology, equipment that goes by. Whether it's IoT, it's artificial intelligence, on the cloud, big data, analytics, and so on and so forth. So therefore, my belief is that this 2x could probably be again a conservative number. It could be much larger than that.
Mr. Reddy, in terms of new age technology having an impact on hiring, the outlook for hiring in FY19 remains flat. There is going to be no increase. Is that, a cause for concern?
No, we didn't say it's flat. We said we'll add another 100,000 employees. But you've got to look at it from a slightly different perspective. What NASSCOM puts out as hiring numbers are what are being hired by the IT industry.
Absolutely.
Whereas beyond IT industry, technology has now gone into a number of other verticals. The hiring will come in the other verticals, which will be substantially large compared to what's happening purely in the IT industry. To me, therefore, just don't look at this 100,000 jobs. You look at many more, we don't have the estimate of them, but many more jobs that will come in from other verticals using technology.
Well, if I can throw the spotlight on Cyient, you did see, significant performance in Q3. Margins beat the street expectations. Are you expecting that uptick in margin growth to continue for the rest of the year?
Well, we're in the middle of the quarter. I need to be very careful in what I see. I think the momentum continues to be there in business at this point of time. We're seeing good amount of traction from our customers, and we've also been in a position to get more service offerings into play. The fact that a services company now has an incubation center. Last week we ran a drone hackathon in our facility. Some of these initiatives are certainly helping us in terms of showcasing to our customers our ability to demonstrate technologies to them which could be useful to them. So therefore, I think the momentum as far as Cyient is concerned is in a very positive terrain.
Absolutely. 6 out of 8 verticals, in fact, in Q3 we did see double-digit growth. So what are the verticals that are going to click for you in FY19 then?
I think all the 8 verticals are good for us. Our aerospace is doing well. That's the largest vertical for us. Our smallest vertical is medical electronics and healthcare. We are very upbeat on that too, because